and you have no money, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Exactly.
I
And
love
so maybe try to do something, you know, like something that is not complicated,
Right.
but it's going to be good. I would recommend, you know, if you don't have a fancy pasta machine,
Yeah.
go get one at Goodwill. Like
Gotcha.
just walk around, you know, grab a few shirts and then maybe a pasta machine.
There you
know,
go.
you're like,
And you're
then
ready to
just
go.
Go to town.
And if you had to use a rolling pin,
Right.
you could do this with a rolling pin as well.
You could do this with a rolling pin, or
He's going for his Jedi Knight Italian mozzarella, otherwise known as a bottle in this
well,
case.
I'm gonna do two things. So I'm gonna grab one of the syrup bottles,
I like
pretending
this.
it's a wine bottle.
Perfect. So if you got a nice bottle of wine that you're going to pair with your pasta, you might be able
Yes.
to use it. Aha.
Might as well put it to work. Or, you know, you can have a mini mattarello.
A mini mozzarella.
So, this is when I talk about pliability, okay? And I hope in this video everybody understands the dough, okay? Because in order for you to do something, you have to understand it first. It's almost like going to war. You know, have you ever read that book by Sun Tzu, The Art of War?
Art of War. Yep.
Understand your enemy first.
Yes.
So you gotta understand what of each ingredients do on this dough
Yeah.
for your final product.
Right.
Right? So now you know that the more the whites have more
Moisture.
more moisture than the yolks.
Okay.
Okay. So by adding more whites, you will make this dough more pliable.
Gotcha.
Okay. It's very pliable.
It is, and it actually has more. I can see it starting to pull back or spring back a little bit more too. And I'm guessing that if I hold this, I can feel it pull with gravity versus our other dough that we made earlier, the drier dough.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
And this one, I probably made it, you know, like 2-3 hours ago.
Okay.
I would say 2 hours ago.
Uh-huh.
So if it rests a little more, then you will feel a little more stretchiness.
Is there, with either our drier dough that we made or this one that had the extra egg white, should you rest your dough before you roll it out, or does that help you?
Definitely.
Okay.
You have to rest the dough.
You have to rest it.
You have to rest the dough.
What's a minimum resting time or a recommended guideline for resting
You know,
your dough?
I would say check it after an hour.
Okay.
You know, check your dough after an hour.
In the refrigerator or on your counter, or where am I resting my dough?
If you're gonna roll it up right away,
Yeah.
leave it on your counter.
Okay.
Okay. If for some reason you make the dough and you have to leave,
Yeah.
put it in your fridge.
And wrap it in that plastic wrap.
Exactly.
Okay.
Wrap it in that plastic wrap, and before you roll it, take it out of your fridge, leave it out for an hour.
Okay.
Let it come back to a little bit of room temperature or so, but leave it out for an hour.
And-
Why?
Yeah.
Because the yolks are fat. What happens to fat when it gets cold?
It's going to start getting more solid, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you will find yourself a brick of concrete.
Oh, concrete that is
Exactly.
really hard to roll. So how do I know when it has rested long enough? What's the feel, or what should we do to make sure it's rested long enough?
So there's a test, right? So you will stretch this
Okay.
and see it's not pulling back all the way.
Right.
Just only
Just a little bit.
Exactly. So that's how you know.
So if it goes shoot.
So we just made this one, right?
Right, that was our drier dough.
So if I grab this one and I stretch it the same way, one, it's gonna be hard for me to stretch it, and
Yeah.
two, it's just gonna go back together.
Yep, there it goes. Where this one, it's now elongated from where it was. That
Exactly.
one, not so much. Okay,
So
not rested enough yet.
If the dough is like, let me put it this way. If you go to the dough and you stretch it,
Yeah.
and it doesn't shrink all the way,
Yep.
the dough is like, I'm ready.
It's telling
Put
you.
me in, coach.
Put me in.
Yes, exactly. So
Got it.
you know, that's a good way to know if your dough is ready or not.
Got it.
The other thing that I was gonna talk about was the moisture. Again, going back to the moisture. So if you don't have one of these fancy machines,
Yeah.
and you only have this,
Yeah.
or a bottle of mango wine,
I mean, just happen to have some mango wine.
right? you know, you can set yourself for success.
Ah, okay.
How do you do that? Well, now we know that the dough that is drier is going to give us a little more firm or rich dough.
Okay.
Okay. Than something that probably looks like this.
Yes.
However, this is going to be more pliable
Okay.
to work with than this.
Right.
So pick your battles, basically. Know your ingredients. Understand the dough. Understand what the ingredients do for the dough.
Right.
Now remember, if you add more fat to this, it's going to be a little more rich. It's going to be less sticky,
Okay.
but it's going to be a little more harder. Okay?
Okay.
So if you add water or egg whites,
Yep.
it's just going to be a little more pliable. However, you're going to have to probably add a little more flour, or you run the risk that you're using one of these and the dough overstretches.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Okay.
So let's try it with this. Okay?
All right. Your mini mozzarella.
Yes, the mini mozzarella. And here, this feels so nice that I'm probably going to go all the way.
Oh,
With the rolling
did
pin.
you just put the industrial pasta sheeter to the
fancy,
side?
yeah.
Whoa.
So
I think is it Even Funky that has quite the intense passion for pasta.
Right.
It says you have to use the mozzarella, but in this case you're like whatever I want to use because I'm the chef. So
here's one awesome quote that I got from Even Funky. And you know what? I don't say that often because I don't really stick to it because I have a pasta machine.
Right.
And I have an extruder machine.
Yep.
But I mean, that's because I need volume.
right, you have a
However-
restaurant to run.
Exactly. However, if I had a restaurant where like I can only sit 4 people and focus, like really focus on like making something that I think it's perfect, or actually should I reward that because perfection doesn't exist, it's just a thought. A product that you are proud of.
Ooh, yes.
A product that you are like, here you go, and you feel it. Like you feel when something is, you're delivering something with quality, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
probably one of your, in your episodes, you're like putting all this amount of work and you feel it right
You
here.
get done and you're like, yes.
Exactly.
That was the one.
So it's the same feeling that everybody has, in different ways. Maybe an artist or a painter will experience the same thing when he's painting something and showing it to the people,
Yeah. Passion
maybe
for your craft.
exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe a computer guy that just created a new software and it's like, here you go, look at it.
And that's the nice part about being a chef or an artist or any crafts person is that you're creating something that is more than the sum of its ingredients. You're creating art. This did not exist yesterday or whatever. We put it together. Now I do have to ask a little bit. So you had again, we have some AP flour in the deli over there, right?
Yes.
And you just put just a little bit on your countertop, and then I saw you put just a little bit on the dough itself. And
Yes.
is that helping us just make sure it doesn't stick to the counter, or what is our purpose behind that?
So that will help the counter. Prevent it to stick into the counter.
Yeah.
Prevent it to stick it to here.
So we don't roll it up and all of a sudden we've got like a cannoli or something on there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and this goes back to the feel. If your dough at the beginning is not sticking to the surface like
Yeah.
this guy,
Yeah.
then you probably don't need any flour. However, once, for example, when I'm rolling and I go hard on this part,
Yeah.
sometimes this part would like to stick to the rolling pin.
Yeah.
So that means I need to flour it a little more.
So another observation there. You can
Also, the thinner you go,
Yeah.
probably you're gonna find yourself needing a little more flour.
Okay.
Because of that moisture that gets released.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
So, another trick, because I feel that this is probably one of the hardest things to use.
Sure. Yeah.
It's you don't only need strength
Right.
and physical activity, because I feel that that's what people hate, the physical activity of it.
Right.
So right now you're trying to make this thinner However, the dough is gonna fight you.
Sure.
It's gonna be like, you want me thin enough? Come get me. Come get some of this. So I'm going, and as I'm rolling the dough, see how like I'm holding the rolling pin?
Yeah.
And then I'm even using my forearms.
Right.
So when you apply pressure with your forearms, believe it or not, you probably are applying more pressure than what you do with your hands, okay? At least that's how I feel it.
Sure.
Okay? So sometimes I even go just with my forearms, you know? And this is the other reason why Italian grandmothers, they look like Popeye.
Because they're doing this every day.
Brother, I mean, I would not want to mess with one of those ladies, because if they get me on the ground and they just start pummeling my face, I would be like...
Well, and then when she starts hitting it with her mozzarella too.
Right? Yeah, man. They're a force to be reckoned with. So, right now, what I'm doing is, and I don't know if you guys noticed that when I started this dough, I went like this, rotate, and I went like this, and I rotated. Just the same way as when we were mixing the dough.
Right.
Okay.
Right, because when we were mixing the dough, you're pushing with this hand, turning with this, so we're doing the same thing, and it's about a 90-degree turn.
Yep.
And then you're only doing like one roll out and a light roll back.
You know, I think that's up to each person.
Okay.
But what works for me is I try to go up and then down.
And then down.
Okay.
And then a rotate.
So rotate it, go up, go down.
Got it.
Maybe another way. And after that, see how sometimes you feel that your dough is sticking a little bit.
Yeah.
So don't worry. As long as you can run your hand through that.
Yeah, it's not where before I think I said I could feel my fingerprint. I can't anymore. And you can also feel a gentle layer of flour on top there. And you had mentioned before that feels like leather. That really feels like leather now.
It's so, I mean, and this is one of the most rewarding things that I, you know, sometimes I'm a little bit of an eccentric when I talk about how I feel it, you know, because I like working with my hands. I like feeling things. I like, you know, doing things with my hands. So it's very like I get so much satisfaction of seeing the texture of this, because it's almost like silk, you know. You will think, what was the reaction of the first person that actually made the first silk fabric?
Sure.
They were probably like,
what did I do?
And even whenever you find somebody, you know, like you go to a party and they're wearing a silk dress, or like, you can't stop touching it.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, man.
Different.
Like, exactly.
Well, and the change in texture from where we started with flour and we had some eggs to turn that, and all of a sudden we're this. You know, that's quite this doesn't feel anything like this. You know, we've transformed it.
And you know, going back to the matter cannot be destroyed, only transformed.
Right.
Right. So, one of the things that, you know, you're doing right now, it's you're almost making sense of. I'm trying to put this thought, you know, together, because it's a little complex. Because here's the thing: if you grab a cup of flour and if you grab an egg, and you boil the flour and you fry the egg, it's not gonna give you the same result.
Right.
Which is crazy to think, because it's like, well, how am I gonna end up with something like this? So what I'm doing right now, it's going back and forth, and you're seeing that I'm, you know, like always turning this,
right?
Probably flipping it, and
very smooth. No more pockets in here like we had before.
Exactly. So I like to go also on an angle. Basically, what I'm trying to achieve is I'm trying to get an even sheet of pasta.
I love the sound when you flip it and it connects with the counter too. It's very satisfying.
Everything, right?
Yeah.
It's everything. It's the sound, the texture, even the sound that the mozzarella has against the wooden board.
Well, I've heard that too about wok cooking. There's
Yeah.
I think there's actually one that's a dish called Pock Pock or something like that. But
Okay,
that,
okay.
that one actually I think is a mortar and pestle. The sound of the mortar and pestle. Pock
Right,
Pock Pock.
okay, okay.
But the same thing with wok cooking
Yeah.
is that spatula. You hear that sound, ka-chunk, ka-chunk, and and it's
Right.
just satisfying there
Yeah,
too. So
yeah,
same
yeah,
thing
yeah,
here.
yeah.
We've got ourselves a cutting board. We got ourselves some pasta. I have to ask you, Chef, what's up with this knife? Tell me about this knife. 'Cause
Story of this knife?
It looks amazing.
I got this, Ben Mates, right?
Yep.
He sold me this knife.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when he first got it, I really liked the look, the length,
Yeah.
and the handle, because how it fit on my hand.
Yeah.
So mainly that's what I look on the knife. Like I look, yes, like the length, I look at the steel, but I love how it feels on my hand.
It's comfortable.
So if it's comfortable, yes, I buy it.
Yeah.
If not, why would you buy something that doesn't fit right?
That's an extension of your hand as a
Exactly.
chef, right?
Exactly. So, I like this Japanese knife. It's white steel, and we can talk about steels all day, but white steel basically, in Japanese knives, there's blue steel and white steel. Blue steel is going to be hard steel.
Okay.
That means that it's going to have more carbon.
Okay.
That means that it's going to rust quicker.
Mm.
However, it's going to have a sharper edge.
Mm.
However, it's going to be harder to get that edge because of the carbon.
Okay.
Because you're going to grind that. It's almost like grinding on diamonds,
Yeah. Yeah.
However, white, trying to think the name in Japanese, but white steel, Shiroko, I think it's called Shiroko,
Okay.
and Aoko.
Okay.
Okay, so the white steel knife basically is going to have less carbon. It's going to have a much easier, sharpness.
Yeah.
However, the sharp is not going to hold that well.
We were talking about transforming matter, and again, balance on you have attributes one way or the other depending.
Same
on
with the
what
dough. You can add less water. You can add more water.
Yeah. Yeah.
That way you can have. That's what I'm saying. Understanding what each one of those things do.
Yeah.
It's essential. It's very essential. Like I'm pretty sure knife makers, they're like, okay, what happens if we use more carbon, more tungsten, more magnesium, or more, stainless steel? You will get a different knife.
Yeah.
So they also have a recipe for a knife. However, I think making knives is a little different than dough, but it's the same concept.
Sure.
So
Recipe and a process.
exactly.
Gotcha.
So it's good that we had this little conversation because we actually let the dough.
Our dough got to rest a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it got rested, but it got dry a little bit.
Okay.
Which I like because I like to dry it a little more because if it's too wet and you
Yeah.
fold it, it's going to stick on itself.
Okay, and we don't want it to do that.
Exactly.
Okay.
We just want noodles, right?
Right.
So one thing that I'm going to do before folding it is going to do flour. Okay. More flour. All right. And then come up.
Just gently folding it over itself there.
Yeah.
See, now I want crepes all of a sudden. Okay, so it's interesting. So you did folds from one side,
Yes,
folds from the other side, and they met in the middle.
correct.
Okay.
So that's at least the way how I found the noodles. Whenever I cut the noodles and I have to separate them,
Yeah.
that's the easier way.
Okay.
Like I'll show you.
Okay.
Right now. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring my cutting board.
Okay.
This you can use this too, but I like to trim it because it's the end.
Gotcha.
Okay? But you can use
So
it.
still edible, but for even noodles.
Exactly. So
You're cutting what is about a 1/4 inch or so?
yeah,
Give or take
about
a little bit.
1/4 inch.
And what type of pasta shape? Because shape obviously changes the name of the pasta. What are we making today?
This will be tagliatelle.
Tagliatelle.
Okay, tagliatelle comes from the word tagliare, which means to cut or cut in Italian.
Perfect.
So tagliatelle will make sense for this procedure. So what you're basically doing is, and see how like I'm feeling with my fingers.
Right, because your fingers are connecting with the knife steel.
So that means I can also do this.
And still talk
and
to me.
Still talk to you.
And you still have all 5 fingers on that hand.
Exactly. And maybe possibly the same length of noodles.
I was also wondering if your nails are trimmed at the same length after that too.
You know what? Only if I want to add flavor to it. So, all right. So the ends are also always going to be a little tricky.
Okay.
But this is what I meant for the foldings.
Right,
okay?
right, because
So here, if you fold it all at like all in one, in one roll,
yeah,
it'll be a little harder for you to pull the noodles. However, if you did what I did, you will grab one half, and then you will have this.
How sturdy those are.
And then yeah, that will be your pasta.
That's awesome. You just grabbed a bunch at one time there. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. About a dozen noodles, give or take.
Yeah. So I would say this recipe will be good for maybe 2 people. Okay. And
so our full recipe that we made here is about for 2 people. Okay.
About 2 people.
All right.
Yeah.
I got to ask you about the flop. Is that a necessary technique, or is that just you like the audible sound of pasta?
I like the sound of the pasta, and it also will help that in case the surface wasn't even,
okay,
and the knife didn't cut all the way through the pasta.
Oh,
that will help
break
it.
apart.
Exactly.
Smart.
So
saving you a lot of time, so you don't have to go back and pull them apart or cut individual
exactly.
noodles.
And even sounds even better on like
it does
wood.
sound better there.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. So that's pretty much.
We'll have to come out with our own ASMR pasta audio channel where people just listen to pasta.
I mean, haven't you seen like one of the things that I like to do when I fall asleep?
Yeah.
Is I put the fireplace video on YouTube.
Sure. Yeah. So
and
wood
I just
crackle.
listen. Yeah.
So we just need a pasta version of that,
That's
and
it.
then we'll be all set.
Exactly.
Never mind the Yule log. We're going to have WD's pasta channel.
Right.
All right.
It's going to be me going like that for 10 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
And you just every once in a while you whisper because it could be different noodles. It'd be like tagliatelle.
Right.
All right.
So this is it. Okay.
That's it.
You can probably do a little nest and make it look a little better.
Beautiful.
Okay. However, I like to keep them like that.
There you go.
Okay. Why? Because if somebody comes into your home and they go like, "Oh, you're making pasta." Yes, I'm making pasta.
Yes, I'm making pasta.
So the other thing that I want to talk about right now, it's hydration. So see how like the noodles are a little cracked?
Yeah.
Or starting to crack. So that's because the noodle is drying out. Okay. However, if you want a little more moisture, don't dry it out so much. However, you will probably need to add a little more flour. Okay, to prevent the noodles from sticking to each other.
Okay.
Because remember, what's preventing the noodles for sticking to each other will be the flour.
Gotcha.
So every time you make an incision with the knife,
Uh-huh.
you are exposing parts of the dough that are
Oh,
not
that
with
weren't
flour.
exposed to air prior because you have new surface
Exactly,
area.
exactly.
Got you. Okay.
So that can, stick to your knife, or
Yeah.
that can stick to your noodles and make a mess. So just add more flour in case you need it. Okay. So we're gonna leave those over there. The water, it's gotta be at a rolling boil.
Okay.
Okay. Make sure you season the water.
I was just going to ask, do we salt it? We do.
Yes. So
Okay.
you can use kosher salt. You can use sea salt. Himalayan salt, however, that will be very expensive. But,
Would you prefer kosher salt or sea salt over table salt? Or doesn't
probably
matter?
kosher salt.
Kosher salt?
Yeah.
Okay.
The table salt will have some iodine.
Oh, right, because there's added a little bit of an additive in there.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that will make the water taste funny.
Oh,
And iodine has like a funny taste.
Got
you know that
you can taste it, so
exactly.
it will alter your.
Trust me. Make this test. Grab some kosher salt
Yeah.
and some table salt.
Okay.
Taste them side by side, and you'll know.
You'll know.
Exactly.
Got it.
So.
And when knowing how much salt to put in the water, I've heard some people say make it taste like the sea. What if I've never visited the ocean? how do I determine how much salt's in my water?
Then I will say you can go to TripAdvisor and buy yourself a ticket
You should
to
go
California or somewhere where it's water,
Perfect.
and then go taste the water and then come back.
And then come back. Okay,
Exactly.
that sounds good.
You know, it comes down to tasting.
Makes
okay.
sense.
Taste the water. It's gotta almost taste like. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be a dumb analogy, but
Hey, if it's
ramen
not dumb
noodles.
if it works. Ramen noodles.
Yes,
but
the Mari-chan ramen noodles.
the bag, not
Yes,
an awesome, just
exactly.
a 10-cent thing of ramen. Okay.
If the water tastes seasoned,
Okay.
like those kind of noodles,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you're not gonna have the chicken flavor in it
Right,
or whatever
right.
powder they put in it.
Yeah.
So if it tastes seasoned, you're good.
Okay.
If it almost like soup,
Yeah.
yes. If it tastes like a seasoned soup,
Yeah.
then you're golden.
Got you.
If it tastes too salty,
Right.
just add a little more water. If it doesn't have enough salt,
Yeah.
put a little more salt.
Got you.
Then
All
that's
right.
it.
So if you can't afford the ticket to California, go to the grocery store, buy some ramen noodles, and try that.
And if you do go to California, make sure you take this guy and myself because
There you go. Yes,
we need a
please.
vacation.
Please. That's
All right.
fantastic. Well,
So-
and the other thing is you can add your salt to your, obviously it's tasting boiling water, you gotta let it cool, but can you add it to the cold water, stir it really well, and then taste it, or do you add your salt to your rolling boil water?
That is a
and
great
then-
question because now we're talking about steels.
Yes.
So sometimes the aluminum pots, they react differently with some.
Oh, because if it's not boiling, you
salinity.
can pit your pot potentially, or you can have some issues there?
You will create some how do you say some you know how aluminum pots sometimes they have like discoloring,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or they will have a funny taste.
Yeah.
You have to be careful whenever you cook on an aluminum pot.
Okay.
Because acid can mess with the aluminum pot.
That's right, because aluminum can pull out of the pot into your food there.
Exactly.
So, okay.
So that's why I like stainless steel for
Got
like
it.
making tomato sauce, for like making things that I know they're gonna have some sort of acidity
Yeah.
or salinity.
Yeah. Or
maybe,
salinity.
Exactly.
Okay.
However, if you find yourself with an aluminum pot,
Yeah.
okay, this is not scientifically proven
Sure.
again.
Okay. All right.
However, I done it by observation. When I wait for the water to boil and then add my salt,
Yeah.
it will create less of a stain in my pot.
Oh, interesting.
So
okay.
when I see this thing, I'm like, well, there's a chemical reaction going
Something
over
has
there.
happened.
Exactly.
Right.
So if I see it less, then I'm like, well, there's less of a chemical reaction.
All right.
So we know that temperature can transform things.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. Okay.
you know,
there it is. Get
it's,
your pot boiling first, and then add salt.
Exactly.
Got it.
So
All right.
that's at least what I do.
Got it.
Okay. I like to do that. So right now we have the boiling water over here.
Got it.
Just gonna
Salting our boiling water.
yeah, season it a little bit.
Do we like a lot of water in our pot? How much water do we need in our pot?
You know, here I'm gonna bring the pot over there.
All right, I'm gonna back
Okay.
up and give you some room, Chef.
Yes, here. In fact, let's try to do the whole thing over there, all right?
Oh my goodness. All right.
Yes.
It's like a cooking demonstration portability in the restaurant. I
That's
love it.
right.
All right.
That's right. Okay, so I'm gonna put my plat right there. I'm gonna bring my ingredients, and the water probably has to be boiling like that.
Got
okay?
it. So we got nice big bubbles coming up there, a decent
Exactly.
amount of water in the pot, a lot of water in the pot, because you probably want to err on the side of too much water rather than not enough. Is that a true statement there?
You know, you need the space to cook pasta.
Ah.
However, sometimes when I get lazy and
Yeah.
I'm at home,
Uh-huh.
I grab dry spaghetti noodles.
Sure.
I grab a pan like this,
Yeah.
fill it up with water that much,
Yeah.
and I will throw my noodles in there,
And just ready to go.
and they will cook. And guess
Ah.
what? The water left over,
Uh-huh.
you will use that as a sauce.
Oh, perfect, because it's got the starch and everything in there, and aha.
Exactly. So, make sure you don't burn yourself, okay?
Just let it cool
Just
out there.
blow it a little bit. Here you go, man.
All right, we got a spoonful of salt water to our.
Right. So
Cameraman or
it
director?
tastes like a seasoned.
It's
like
yeah,
seasoned
very
water.
salty, very salty. Yeah.
So if it's very salty,
Can I get a margarita to go with this, Chef?
I think that's seasoned. So
All right.
it's If it's very salty, we'll add more water.
Gotcha.
Okay. However, if it's seasoned, then we're good.
How do you feel about our salt level in there right now?
Right now, I feel that, to me, I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's
Because-
how we're getting flavor into the pasta too, right?
That is right.
Yeah.
And also for the ingredients that we're gonna add over here.
Ah, so the salt and the water incorporating the pasta, that's going to be part of the sauce. So we're not going to heavily
Pasta
salt our
water
ingredients.
It's magic.
Magic. Magic.
That's it. So,
Don't save your pasta water. It's important.
Exactly.
All right, I'm going to bring my spoon over here.
all right. So probably gonna cook it for like, since they're like super fresh,
Yeah.
I like to start with a minute. Okay, this is not
A minute.
Yes,
A
a
minute.
minute. A minute to 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, depending on how al dente you like your pasta.
Yeah.
Okay, I like a minute. Maybe we have to go a little longer, maybe a minute and a half.
Yeah.
But we're gonna taste.
Okay.
Because it's gonna finish cooking in here.
In here.
Exactly.
So if we don't want to overcook it here because then we're going to end up with mush when
Exactly.
we're done. Okay.
Correct. So you're gonna grab the noodles. All right. You're gonna have the water.
Seasoned, rolling, boil water.
Exactly.
Handful of noodles. Got it.
You're gonna have a minute. About a minute to
Minute on the-
2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. So
There it goes.
throw it in there.
All right.
Right. Give
Now-
them a little stir.
Now this is one thing. So if you don't have tweezers, could I use chopsticks or something? Because
Chopsticks, yes.
chopsticks are good
Chopsticks.
because we don't want the noodles to break up. So if you vigorously stir this, we might break up the noodles.
Exactly.
Okay.
Correct. So chopsticks work the best. Like you couldn't pick your tool better because
Excellent.
that's one of the things that I always wonder. Why Italians don't eat
Use
the pasta with chopsticks?
You know,
Because chopsticks are the best of for pasta.
I actually like eating a lot of different things with
Yeah.
chopsticks. There's something about when you stick something with a fork. I would almost tell you, it changes the texture because you poked it.
Right.
And then maybe even some of the metal on your
Right.
versus you can
Yep.
pick up with chopsticks and you can just get the food and not taste the silverware. So I like eating a lot of
It's
things
a
with chopsticks.
different taste, right?
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
different feel. So immediately you
I'll
see.
even eat popcorn with chopsticks. It's kind of fun.
Hey, there you
So,
go.
it's good
I
practice,
wouldn't-
too.
I actually want to try that.
Do it. It's totally different.
I
And
always-
yeah, it makes your popcorn last longer too.
I know. Yeah.
Unless you're really fast.
I like eating popcorn one by one.
There's a
So, yeah.
minute.
All right. So right now you can see how the pasta has hydrated a little bit.
It's changed a little bit in color, I think, too. Just a
and
little.
texture. Okay.
Yes.
So
Wow.
right now I'm gonna go ahead. Probably go 30 more seconds to 45 more seconds, if not a minute. Like I said, taste.
Yeah.
taste.
And what did you taste with that noodle, or what texture did you have that?
So, there. Ooh.
It still has a little bit of a raw, not much, but a little more of that raw eggy flour flavor
So, it's almost getting there. We're gonna finish cooking the pasta in here.
in the pan. Okay.
Yes. So, we're gonna change this. Right?
All right. So we've got our.
And this will work better with a strainer. However,
And so we're okay picking up a little water from the.
oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. You want the water.
You want the water.
Yes.
We need that starch in there to help make our sauce.
Correct. You
Gotcha.
want the water.
Oh, there's our timer.
All right.
So sum total, what did we do? Like a minute and a half, maybe two there?
About minute and a half.
Okay.
Okay.
So you don't need 8 or 10 minutes to do this fresh pasta.
Exactly. So
Okay.
you can smell it already. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh, the garlic and the garlic and olive oil flavors seem to have blended, have melded just a little bit there too.
exactly. So you're gonna use a little bit of pasta water. Okay.
Just adding that starchy
Yes.
water there.
And if your pasta water it's too salty, then you can just use regular water from there and adjust.
Since we have fat and other things, are we making an emulsion of sorts? Is that happening in there? Or is
You
it-
know, we're gonna try to make an emulsion with this. However, olive oil doesn't really emulsify that well unless
gotcha.
you put like how do you say stabilizer in it.
Okay.
So this one is gonna be more like it's a very basic pasta,
I like it.
very basic. So
And sometimes simple is the best.
exactly, simple is the best. The less, the better. We'll add some lemon juice.
Now, if I recall, does the lemon juice harken back to some Peruvian feeling as well? Is that true?
Yes.
Ah, very nice.
We add lemon juice to pretty much almost everything. And I remember when I was working back in restaurants, they will prohibit me to add lemon juice to.
And you're like, it's against my fiber, my DNA.
Exactly. So, all right.
Respect to Peru.
So right now, we're gonna turn this down. All right.
So we have pasta, olive oil, garlic, and just a little water in the pan, and we're about to get some chilies.
Yes.
Little heat.
If you have chilies, maybe some sriracha. Sriracha will be good. Sambal, Korean chili, or gochujang.
Gochujang. Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
You know, you can add that. You
Yeah.
can add a little bit of that and experiment. I will say garlic and olive oil are some of the best bases.
You could just start there and some pasta water.
That's your base.
Now, I when you were adding, because you were adding water about a tablespoon at a time.
Yeah.
So what were you observing to know whether you added enough water or too much water, or how do you know? Because you don't want to end up with chicken noodle soup either. So.
You know, if you have enough water somewhere like that,
Gotcha.
you know, that would be good.
All right.
Because this is gonna keep cooking.
And it's gonna, the pasta's gonna start absorbing some of that too,
Yep.
right?
That's why I like my pasta very, very saucy.
Yeah, yeah, look at it go. And a totally different sound now too. Whack, whack, whack. Yeah.
Okay. So, we'll add a little more pasta water in this.
So I think we're probably up to 4 or 5 tablespoons-ish, but we're doing it by feel and by sight.
You hear that slap?
Yeah.
That's also a good indication that you're cooking your pasta right.
If I'm not as skilled as you, because I would probably end up with my pasta all over the floor, what was the best way to keep that pasta mixing if you're not, if you don't have that skill? Good old spoon. Just a gentle flip and fold. Okay, good. So you don't use just
If you don't
gently.
have a spoon or you don't want to use a spoon, you can grab your chopsticks.
Chopsticks or tweezers. Got it. Beautiful.
So,
Oh, I love that color. Love that color. Got the peppers in there,
yeah.
and then
We'll add a little more of this.
yeah, some acidity in there.
Oh yeah.
Was that basil that we added in there?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Perfect.
All right. So
It's looking
after
great.
this,
Yeah.
you can either add some cheese to the pasta,
Yeah.
or just top it with the cheese.
Okay.
We'll add a little bit into it, and then we'll top it with a little bit. Okay.
Perfect.
Yes. So we grab a bowl.
Look at that pasta.
All right. So because of our conversation, the pasta dried out a little bit.
Yes.
However, we're gonna make the best of it. See if I can.
So here's where the more art comes in.
Yeah. However, this pasta might be a little broken, so I'm just gonna serve it like this.
Uh huh.
All right.
Look at that.
And you know what? Don't feel bad if you don't end up with pretty pasta or like long strands of pasta.
It's okay if it breaks a little bit.
Exactly. We weren't going for that.
Well, I think you said perfection was just a thought, a theory, and we need what do we like and what's enjoyable.
You know, I think that if you do something that you are like super hungry and you want it super casual,
Yeah.
you know, you don't really have to like really make it perfect or like make it restaurant perfect,
Sure.
because if the flavors are there, like the olive oil and the chili and the garlic,
Yeah.
you barely need, you know, something else to replace that, because
Yeah.
those flavors are gonna activate those memories, and
Right.
you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, this is good.
Yeah.
But here, I'm gonna put a little bit of
Yes, please.
cheese in there.
Awesome.
Right?
Got some Parmesan there?
Yeah,
Excellent.
and why not a little?
Little pepe on that pasta.
And I think that should be it. I was gonna add some parsley, but
Yeah.
you know what? Let's keep it like that. Let's keep
I
it
like
very simple. Yes.
I like it.
And this will be something that you have in your house. Like for example, if you don't have cheese, I mean, don't worry, don't stress. You can either add maybe a little milk, a little cream.
Sure.
And if you don't have any of those, just
I mean, the olive oil and garlic. I mean, even if you just had that, you'd probably be okay.
With the chilies.
With the chilies.
And maybe you have a little piece of toast in your home, just eat it with a little piece of toast. But the main thing is taking the fear of making things from scratch.
Yeah.
And, actually serving them and making a dish out of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, now it's time to taste.
All right.
And
cheers.
Cheers.
All right. I'm excited about the little heat in here from this chili too. That is so good. The it's just right. Oh, it's sitting in the back of my mouth a little bit. The texture on the pasta is just amazing. It's such a different type of noodle and mouthfeel from a dried pasta.
So that's why I like to leave my pasta a little thicker.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that texture.
Mm-hmm.
You feel it more in your mouth.
Yeah, that al dente, the teeth part of al dente. It's a bite.
Also,
it's a bite.
The acidity from the lemon juice.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking that same thing. The acidity, you don't taste lemon. I don't get that right away or anything. Mm-hmm. But it's bright. It's got a bright note, and the constant hum of the chili, if you will, is just nice. And of course the cheese.
It's a very simple dish, well balanced, something that I will eat anytime, any day. And you know what? You can get creative with this. We could have put a little mustard in it. I love yellow mustard, or like Dijon mustard.
Yeah.
Maybe some kale or greens or arugula.
If you're going to add the greens, would you do that as you were sautéing or mixing the sauce there, or would you add it afterwards?
Depending on which green. If I want to add kale, I will add it right when it's cooking, so I can cook that kale a little bit.
Sure.
If I'm going to add arugula, I probably add it at the end, or spinach also at the end, just because I like the spinach and the arugula not to be completely wilted, but to still have a little bit of texture and brightness. So
that's delicious.
Thank you. But I just love, garlic chili. We really appreciate whoever cooked for us.
Absolutely.
Because during those moments, we're like, man, we're hungry. We're looking for something good.
Yeah.
And so that's the connection. I feel that, between the ingredients, where it comes from, understanding, and actually understanding the situation on where you're cooking.
Yeah.
Because you might be cooking at a Michelin star restaurant, or maybe a bar, or at your house.
Right.
So those, like having those things in perspective, it will really help you create something special.
Absolutely.
So,
and I appreciate, what's so fun about this is
yeah.
we've just got to create something special. We started with flour, we started with eggs, and look at the art that resulted in that. We have a shared flavor. We've shared, flavors and experiences. We're nourished. Got a little heat going on for the day, a good amount, just perfect amount. And that's awesome. And I'm just so appreciative of everything that we've done here.
Awesome. This is really, this is what it comes down to, having a good conversation, having a good relationship, and, just enjoying a bowl of pasta and just being humans.
Absolutely.
Because think about it, humans, they will hunt together, in the old days, and they will eat together.
Right?
So it's some sort of a bond
Absolutely.
that you form, and it's truly special. It's magical.
I agree. It's magical as this pasta too. I'm gonna have another bite.
I gotta go to the gym, but
You'll work off these carbs pretty fast, I know. All right, so shared experiences through food. We focused on simplicity. We focused on things that you can do at the house. We are here at WD Cravings with Chef Piero Cotrina and David Zorko from Saturday, Omaha. And don't be afraid to cook and have fun and share experiences. And that's what it's about. Thank you, Chef.
thank you, brother.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, nice having you here.